Hello, I'm Darren Magee, and today's question asks if I would discuss what I believe is a very insidious form of abuse, and that is to be excluded, to be ostracized by others. In this video, I'm going to look at what that is, I'm going to look at the effects of it, and I'm going to be referring to research carried out by Professor Kipling D Williams at Purdue University. I will put a link to that research into the description of this video. But if you like this video helpful or find it interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel. Just to remind you though, this video is for information purposes only and is not a substitute for support from a mental health professional. Now, to be ostracized is not just someone withdrawing or given the silent treatment temporarily due to them being upset or angry, nor is it going grey rock or no contact with an abusive person for the sake of your own sanity, your own safety. To be ostracized is to be excluded deliberately from groups, conversations, families, privileges with the intent to hurt. It is to be ignored, it is to be treated as if you don't matter, as if you don't exist. Now, human beings, we are social creatures. On some level, we all like to fit in, to belong, to be accepted. We have relationships, different kinds of relationships with different people. We live in communities, join groups. To be deliberately excluded from these things, as I said, it can be a very insidious form of abuse. Insidious in the sense that it's more like a sin of omission rather than commission. For example, you imagine somebody at work, they're being ignored, they're not being included. If they were to put in a complaint, the abuser or abusers, well, they may say things like, well, we didn't threaten them, we haven't used bad language, we're not intimidating them. In fact, we're here just to do a job, we're not here to make friends. And in his research, Professor Williams stated that being excluded or ostracized is an invisible form of bullying that doesn't leave bruises, and therefore we often underestimate its impact. And I would agree, it can have a huge impact on someone's mental health and their well-being, which I'll outline later on in this video. Now, being ostracized can take many forms. As I said, there could be being ignored at work, could be talking to someone and they don't acknowledge it. There's social events being planned and everybody but one person is being invited. There could be saying hello to someone, people on the street, and you know that they saw you, but they walk right past as if you weren't there. There could be groups of people openly talking about someone, either directly or indirectly, right in front of them, but pretending that they're not there or behaving like they don't care if that person hears it or not. And there can be many different reasons why some people or groups of people ostracize others. It could be because maybe someone belongs to a different ethnic group, of different faith, culture, sex, social class. It could be maybe they were fine with that person until they found out they voted for a different political party or hold a different ideology. And then all of a sudden, it's as if they have just stopped existing. Sometimes there could be envy involved. You could have someone who is maybe better qualified, more skilled, more ambitious than someone. What we see there is, as I say, an envy, but also a jealousy, because the abusive person might be jealous that they could lose their position, their status, or maybe following the ending of an unhealthy relationship. One of the parties is being avoided by their mutual friends, while the other one, the aggressor, a lot of the times, is still in regular contact, getting all of the sympathy. So the research that I mentioned earlier found 3 stages of ostracism. Firstly, there are the initial acts of being ignored or excluded. Now, at first someone might think, oh, they just didn't hear me, or maybe they forgot about me, or whatever. It still has an effect, even if it's in the short term. But as that continues, the person being ignored may start to question themselves. What's wrong with me? What have I done? Or what am I doing wrong? They begin to doubt themselves. The second stage is coping. Now, this might involve trying to fit in, complying with, agreeing with, being extra nice to, doing anything that might foster some kind of acceptance. If nothing works to gain any kind of acknowledgement, the person being excluded often stops trying to be liked and will just settle for being noticed. This may be, they become aggressive, they start to provoke, they become sarcastic, passive aggressive. Then those who are doing the ostracizing behave as though they are justified. We don't want anything to do with someone like that. Look at how they behave. We are the offended party here. Now that's what would be known as reactive abuse, and I have made a video on that previously if you want to check that out. It refers to focusing on someone's reaction to being abused, to being mistreated. Focusing on the reaction, not what causes the reaction. And lastly, there's resignation. If someone has been ostracized for a long time, the pain, it can become too great and they just give up. They can feel helpless, hopeless, depressed, unworthy. They may become alienated, withdrawn, feeling intense anger and sadness, which can sometimes spill over into other relationships. Now, to be fair, sometimes ostracism can happen unintentionally. There may be no real reason for it, and if that's the case, and if you feel confident enough, it is important to stand up for yourself, to remind the other person, the other people, that you are here as well and that you have a voice. There are times when these things can be resolved. However, to be treated with constant disapproval, treated like you don't matter over a long period of time, that can have a huge impact on someone's mental health. Their self-esteem, their self-confidence, their self-worth is all affected. And what I mean by that, well, we'll stick with self-esteem for a moment. When we put the word self in front of something like esteem, self-esteem, that's not really so much what I think of myself. A lot of the time it's more what I think others think of me. What I mean is you're talking to someone, they're making eye contact, answering your questions, laughing at your jokes. You generally feel okay. If you're talking to someone and they just look right through you or roll their eyes and walk off, you generally don't feel so good. And that is often the intent, to devalue and dehumanize. Now, if you have experienced this kind of thing, please consider talking to a counsellor or a therapist. They can help you to traverse the pain that this causes, to draw and develop on healthy, supportive relationships with people who care. So that is a brief outline of ostracizing. As always, please feel free to use the comment box below if you have any thoughts or experiences you want to share, or some interesting conversations start around these videos. But if you find this video helpful or interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel, and until next time, thanks for watching. No one likes to be rejected. We all have a need to be accepted on some level. Not necessarily loved, admired, dated by, or whatever, just accepted. And it's not really a lot to ask. Sometimes though, maybe you need to look at the caliber of some of the people who are doing the ostracizing. Don't look at what they are, don't look at where they are. Look at who they are, look at their character. Are they really the type of people you want to be friends with?